Norman Thomas, 6 times candidate for president on the Socialist Party ticket, said the American people would never vote for socialism. But he said under the name of liberalism, the American people will adopt every fragment of the socialist program.
When this bill is law, 3 strikes and you're out will be the law of the land.
They are absolutely destroying the traditional Western civilization right before our eyes.
And I consider it part of my responsibility as President of the United States to fight against negative stereotypes of Islam wherever they appear.
The intent of the founders, that's what the Supreme Court is supposed to do.
I declare, I'm not going to pay for that wall.
Donald Trump want to protect our nation because he said that if he's in office, he will find the enemy and destroy the enemy.
Welcome to the Abolitionists Roundtable, your all-access pass to the 2016 Red, White, and Blue Conservative Revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600. Now here are your hosts, Del Marsh, Phil Stargell, and Janice Daniels.
All right, thank you for joining the Abolitionist Roundtable. We have so much on our agenda this morning. If you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call at 734-822-1600. This is your host, Del Marsh. Folks, we got so much in the photo. We got 1 hour that we got to squeeze all this in. So if you'd like to join the conversation, we got 2 of the Southeast Michigan's heavy hitters in the studio with us. You know, the People's Mayor, Mayor Janice Daniels, and you know the heavyweight champion of broadcast, Phil Stargell, and we're going to talk to them in just a minute. But I just want to make an announcement. Before I make my announcement, I want to just say this right here. Today's show. The name of the show, the topic that we're talking about today, and you're gonna see it once we start developing our talking points. The art of propaganda. The art of propaganda. So something you're gonna see. You're going to see Donald Trump. He's going to change his format a little bit. Instead of crooked Hillary, it's going to go to the crooked media. And we know we've been knowing it for years that the media is deceptive. We know that the media is the fifth column, is the arm of the Democrat Party, is the arm of this government that's in power right now. And so, folks, if you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call. Matter of fact, I want you to start doing this right here, and we'll all look at them, and we'll try to address it. If you don't want to call, if you want to send us an email at art@whamradio.com, and we'll try to address whatever it is that you might send us an email for. If you like to listen to this show again, I've been listening to some of the past shows. Some of them sound pretty good, too. I got a good laugh out of some of them. But then also I discovered something back in January. I couldn't believe that something that we said, and a soundbite that from President Obama in January. He said that ISIS they offer no threat to America. These are a bunch of misguided folks riding around in pickup trucks. Do you remember that? That's what he said back in January. And so right there, that set up the narrative where last week where Donald Trump said that Hillary and Obama created ISIS. Now, President Obama said they were just a bunch of misguided individuals in pickup trucks that have there's no existential threat at all against America. Second, Hillary said that the art of propaganda. Hillary said this right here again. They are the founders of ISIS, and matter of fact, Phil even said something a little different. He put a little spin on it. President Obama is the founder of ISIL. You said he the founder of ISIL. Right. So he the one that changed the name, and then it turned around, and his Secretary of State turned around and called him Dash.
Yes.
So
yes.
And that's Kerry. Where that this art of propaganda. But one thing they don't know, they know, but they think they can deceive people. We live in a 24-hour news cycle. But this news cycle is a cell phone.
And it's being manipulated by, politicians.
Yeah.
This idea of perception is reality.
Yes.
That's what Washington D.C. is.
They think they can tell you.
Yeah,
and we're in an economic boom, and people know that we're not in an economic boom.
You can't afford a loaf of bread. And they talking about an economic boom.
Yes.
They're saying he committed. He got 10 million jobs. How many million jobs if he's running around?
Oh, if you don't remember, that was a part of that art of propaganda again.
Yeah.
Remember, saved or created 3 million, so he started at 3 million.
Yeah. And
now
it's
he
10
saved
million.
because he saved or created,
Yeah.
and now it's 10 million. And then here, before we get into it, Phil, good morning. Here, let's say good morning to the mayor.
Good morning. I'm busy reading this 16-page report that Obama put out after this flood, saying that we can't discriminate against the people in the aid that we offer to them. Now, there's a 16-page report. This wasn't just written yesterday. This has been sitting in the archives for the opportunity to arrive.
And the opportunity has arrived.
And here it is. We've got an opportunity, and now they can say, we want to make sure that we're not discriminating against assisting people.
Okay, the people we're talking about assisting, is it the transgender homeless shelters? Is that what it is?
Man.
Or the lesbian farmers,
or the lesbian farmers. Did you hear about that right there? But no, here, this is what the reason we call this today the art of propaganda. Remember, just 11 years ago, somebody that gave rise to a former senator that was only in office for a year before he was a state senator. He was a U.S. senator for 1 year before he started running for office. But this young senator said something about George Bush. He ripped him over Katrina. And we have a Katrina again. You notice they didn't put a name on this disaster. You notice that they didn't put a name, but this particular time they put a name on it. That it's this Katrina, the worst storm ever. And so, Derek, if you don't mind, we want to hear what the news media said about the worst storm ever. This was the worst storm ever. So we're going to play part 1 of 622. Part 1.
The flooding disaster still impacting tens of thousands of people in the south. That massive tropical system that devastated Louisiana is now bringing new flash flood watches to Texas.
Authorities tonight saying the flood damage is now the worst natural disaster to hit the U.S. since Superstorm Sandy.
A historic week of rain is giving way to months of misery ahead.
Historic flooding in Louisiana could lead to the state's biggest housing crisis since Hurricane Katrina.
All right. You notice that there's from a few different networks. I noticed that that one name was mentioned, President Obama. Yep. They did not utter that from their mouth at all.
Yep.
No personal responsibility at all. Now we know where he's at. He's He's on the golf course right now. Why there's no mention of President Obama, Mayor?
Well, it's obvious. It's the agenda. And it's obvious that the people who need to know this stuff aren't being given the information that they need to know. Because you and I and Phil, we all research this stuff. So we can make those important connections. But the people on the street who don't listen to and watch the media like we do, they just, all they think about is today. Okay, well, today we've got flooding in Louisiana, and the president shouldn't go down there because he would create an entourage would be disruptive of the community.
Okay. So, what did you want to say about that, Phil? And then we got something else we're going to...
Well, you notice that that they had a name for the last Superstorm Sandy, right? Mm-hmm. What's this one?
They didn't put one on.
You know why?
I noticed that.
Because they keep saying, well, the global warming is going to make more hurricanes every year. You notice that's
their strategy. You're right.
But look at Katrina. Katrina got more acknowledgement than any other storm in the history of America because it fit their narrative of being more hurricanes and more powerful hurricanes.
Yes.
Now this is a powerful storm. But there's not a mention of it because, it don't fit into that narrative of being related to climate change.
Yeah. In addition, they still don't want to put that responsibility on President Obama at all. And the reason I believe they didn't put a name on it because that name would also be a part of his legacy.
It's exactly
and
right.
so if they named it Johnson, then it would be the Johnson storm. The Johnson storm would be labeled with President Obama's legacy. But it was something that a senator, a rookie U.S. senator said about President Bush during that storm. And Derek, if you don't mind sharing what that U.S. senator said about George W. Bush during Hurricane Katrina, that's 622 Part 2.
Because when the people of New Orleans and the Gulf Coast extended their hand for help, help was not there. When people looked up from the rooftops, for too long they saw an empty sky. When the winds blew and the floodwaters came, we learned that for all of our wealth and our power, something wasn't right with America. We can talk about what happened for a few days in 2005, and we should. We can talk about levees that couldn't hold, about a FEMA that seemed not just incompetent, but paralyzed and powerless, about a president who only saw the people from the window of an airplane instead of down here on the ground, trying to provide comfort and aid.
He's got some good speechwriters.
We can talk about a trust that was broken. The promise that our government will be prepared, will protect us, and will respond in a catastrophe.
All right.
You got a good teleprompter.
Good teleprompter. Phil, now, he said that a president that would be with us and comfort us during this time for should I say any more? So right now, where's the president at, Phil?
And then what did he do? He said, he was looking at the storm from the comfort of an airplane seat. I mean, this guy, boy, oh man,
don't tell me, not you, Phil. He's not leaving you without words.
Man,
not you.
It is criminal what these people have done. All of the lies that they have done. I mean, this whole administration is based on a bunch of pile of lies.
It's piled up, huh?
Yeah. I mean, look, right now, what we talk about, Fast and Furious, Benghazi, the IRS, the NSA, just now with Hillary and all of her emails. He said he didn't know nothing about it.
Wait a minute. Okay, you talk about emails, Femi. We're going to take a side journey for a minute because we did have breaking news, and this is from the New York Times. It says Hillary told FBI Colin Powell advised her to use private email. So what are you talking about? What email? Colin Powell told her to do. Oh, here, matter of fact, it's from the Daily Caller. Hillary claimed it was Colin Powell that told her to use a personal email. But Colin Powell scratched his head. He said, but I don't recall speaking to her about that right there.
Unbelievable.
Can you share something about that right there, Mayor?
Well, it's phenomenally unbelievable that this woman would then try to find blame. You know, they never want to blame themselves for anything. It would be great to hear one of these people say, yes, I did the wrong thing. But again, it's that same thing like I mentioned last week when she said that there were weapons of mass destruction, and then she sat at a conference while people were beating George Bush up about saying there's weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and she never even opened her mouth to say, well, wait a minute, I said that too. Because they don't want to connect the facts. They don't want to have the people understand that there's a clear picture. The picture is not hard to see or find. It is consistent. It is clear. It's like President Obama going to a fundraiser on Monday for Hillary Clinton and can't go to Louisiana
but he can,
on Tuesday.
But he can just smash George Bush. And you know, and I know he blamed George Bush for everything under the sun.
Matter of fact, I got a couple of headlines
timeline.
real quick. This is from the Chicago Tribune. It says in flood-ravaged Louisiana, newspaper criticized a golfing Obama. They criticized him for being out there on the golf course right now. When 11 years ago, he said that a president can be there to comfort them, to find out exactly what the people need. I got another headline. This is from USA Today. It says, Louisiana newspaper urged Obama to end vacation for Martha's venue to visit flood site.
But it goes back to what you said about this fifth column of the media. See, they keep hyping the fact that Obama has a 55 or 54% approval rating.
Yes.
And that's why and somebody said it, to protect him, saying that, well, I guess because he's riding high in the polls today, that he can do this. He can stay on the golf course and doesn't worry about the fact that he's perceived as not being involved. And then the other guy says, well, he doesn't have to go down there because he with 50% ratings, he can just sit back on his laurels, and nobody's going to try to tie him into what George Bush did in Katrina.
Because he's not there, and because he's not there and has that visual, that visual. Oh, that's interesting.
I got you. No visual, no name, the name of the storm, nothing. Matter of fact, I haven't heard anything.
It'll all go away.
Did you hear anything about his FEMA director going down there? Though I don't even know the FEMA director is. Who is the FEMA director?
Johnson. I know he's the Homeland Security guy. He went. I don't know who the FEMA director is.
Remember, it was and that's who got fired. Phil just mentioned it was the FEMA director that they called that was incompetent.
Yeah, his name was Brown. I can't remember his first name, but I remember they got a kick out of it because George Bush called him Brownie. Yeah, Brownie going down there. Oh man, they had a fun time with that, Oh.
So here again, it says this is from the Daily Caller. It says Milwaukee burned, Louisiana flood, and Obama golfs right now. So is it? And again, you just mentioned that he's comfortable in this over 50%. He don't feel like he have to participate in anything at all like this at all. And so my question is, folks, if you'd like to join the conversation and give us a call at 734-822-1600. Is the news media today dead?
One thing I say too
is journalism today dead.
But that Republican Congress ought to be right there every day saying, look, we got the money to go down there. Let's get somebody down there and get the money out there.
You're absolutely
Instead of that, they're sitting back acting as if Trump is doing something wrong by going down there.
That's the truth of the matter. As much as we see, and the media the media's purpose is decrepit, if not dead, because they've misplaced their agenda, their mission.
Yes.
The media is supposed to be doing what we're doing, presenting information, presenting some facts, and letting people make a decision. But instead, they are driving the narrative, and they're distorting what's really happening on the ground. And the problem is that the Republican majority won't use any of their money to be able to fight this, and they have enough money that they could be battling this in the mainstream media.
The sad part is we don't know exactly what their strategy is. Who is their spokesperson right now? Who is the Republican Party spokesperson?
Well, that's a good question.
We don't really see anybody that's even my guy Ted Cruz is a little silent right now.
Yeah.
He needs to get out in front of this right now,
right?
And go ahead and get in the media. I mean, he can call a press.
Where's that idiot in Cleveland? You know, in Ohio, you know, the one that everybody says, oh, you know, a lot of Democrats would cross over and vote for him. Where is he at?
You talking about Boehner?
Kasich.
Oh,
yeah.
Kasich,
Even Kasich
Where's
is
he at?
quiet on.
You know, he's
right
always
now.
talking about he can go across the aisle and
Right.
do this and do that.
He can bring people together.
Yeah, he can bring people together. Well, let's bring two people together and get some money down there to them people.
And you're right. This is an opportunity. You're right, for Republicans to bring people together right now, and they're not taking advantage of it. Here, this is another headline. This is from Breitbart. It says Trump visited Louisiana flood victims as Hillary rests in Obama vacation. You know, I don't know if you read some of the news headlines. They have been reporting that Hillary can only do 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah, got to rest
out
for a
on
week.
the campaign trail. She back at home in the bed right now resting while Bill is sending some texts out to some cuties. So you go ahead and rest, Hillary.
Yeah, you know, nobody ever accused Bill Clinton of not having energy.
Oh boy, you know when when they had that convention and Hillary was doing her speech, I was like Bill. I was in a corner somewhere falling asleep.
Yeah, right.
Because Bill was dead asleep when she was. Yeah. He spoke about it. He was saying how a magnificent woman she was, but boy, he couldn't keep his eyes open through that speech of the Democrat Party's nominee. But again, if you'd like to join the conversation, on the other side of the break, folks, we want to get into a little bit into, again, the name of the show today, the art of propaganda. This is an art of the news media, the journalism. I think Sean Hannity said journalism today is dead. Folks, if you don't believe it, shows like this and also networks like this right here, Wham, this Wham studio, it's gonna start taking that airspace. It's gonna start taking up that news time because of journalism, because of the propaganda, the fifth column of our government today. Go ahead, Phil. I'm sorry.
Did you have the soundbite where the governor of Louisiana said something about Trump not coming down there for a photo op or something?
I didn't have that, but here, I want to I got one more soundbite, and then we're going to go on the other side of the break. This is what happened. Somebody said something, Derek, if you could play 621. And this right here, you know how it's play 621 for me. Let me just say this. You know, sometimes, and that's why, remember last week we talked about truth. You know, we got something that they don't have. We got truth. And sometimes, you know, the truth can, if we don't get on this radio and put out all these facts, sometimes the truth can, by the time it put on his pants, a lie can circle the whole earth.
Yeah.
And so we have to right away, I mean, you know, but here, this is what somebody said about President Bush during that time. We don't hear anybody talking about President Obama right now. 621. Remember this right here, this soundbite.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Okay, thank you very much. Remember that right there. That label, he had that label on him. Not only was that label on him, that label, Mayor, was on the Republican Party.
Well, right, well, when was that little clip aired? That was just the other day, wasn't it? Was that 5 years ago? You know.
Yes.
Was it 5 years ago that
it was in 2005?
Oh my God!
Yeah,
amazing.
Katrina.
And there's no narrative about President Obama not caring about black people.
No, none.
Well,
must not be no black people in Louisiana.
Right? They must all live now in Martha's Vineyard. Probably so. Huh?
All right. So here, let's go real quick to Derek. How I'm doing on time? Let me know. Let's go to Gary from Hazel Park. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, Janice, the greatest mayor in all the land.
That's right.
Boy,
That's
this
right.
just keeps getting better and better. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up.
That's right.
Hey, you know, propaganda. There's two things about propaganda. One is what they do tell you, and the other is what they don't say.
Yeah.
And that's all got to do with political correctness and hate speech. I mean, if they can control what's said, then that's part of propaganda, and that's what they've been doing.
Hey, you know what? How about? Did you want to comment on that, Phil?
Yeah, why don't we just hold him over and then we'll talk to him after the break.
Okay, folks, if you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call, 734-822-1600. Gary, hold on. We're going to talk to you on the other side of the break.
It's about...
You're listening to the Abolitionists Roundtable, patriotic, red, white, and blue, conservative all-access radio, with your hosts, Del, Phil, and Janice. They're leading the charge and advancing the conservative revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Hello, I'm Milt, and this is Logically Speaking Uncensored, the power of protest voters. In November of 2016, legal Americans will vote into office a new president of the United States. And it is crucial that the new president have the courage and patriotic commitment to elevate the nation above party politics and extol its greatness. The possibility that the ruling class may not get the president they want has the Saul Alinsky Republicans and communistic Democrats bewildered about what to do with unfettered voters who no longer obey their commands. But if they would remove themselves from their entrenched dogmas, they would discover that there are everyday people who love the United States and are determined to keep it from being destroyed by exercising their independence as protest voters. Protest voters are everyday people rebelling against President Obama's dictatorship and the Democrat regime of decadence, and they cover the spectrum of creeds, pigmentations, and political persuasions. Protest voters include people of all ages, incomes, and intellect who are sick and tired of political correctness and lying politicians who refuse to honor their oath of office. Protest voters formerly shackled to the Democrat or Republican Party are now free to expose and repudiate politicians who allow illegal immigration to flourish unabated. Protest voters are rebelling against being humiliated, groped, and fondled at the airport, supposedly to prevent attacks by known enemies the Obama Democrat regime refused to acknowledge or identify. Protest voters are disgusted with wholesale abortions, Obamacare, Common Core, high taxes, high unemployment, and perpetrated class warfare and racial animus, and gender-confused impersonator fascism. Protest voters believe the ruling class has abandoned nationalism by opting for radical rules that make the Constitution and Bill of Rights obsolete. Protest voters want a strong military able to defend the nation, and they deplore Obama's pro-Islam, anti-Christian, and Jewish sentiments, and his refusal to condemn Muslims who are killing Christian, Jews, and infidels around the world. Protest voters gravitating to Mr. Trump are not impulsive. They know that there are evil forces plotting against the nation. That is why in protest, they would vote for anyone who can stop the people who want to transform the United States into a communistic, socialist hellhole. Nefarious stratagems to stop protest voters is tantamount to nailing water to the wall to curb its flow. Because protest voters recognize that a divided nation too weak to defend itself will perish. The only way to stop the power of protest voters is to remove the legitimate grievances which fuel their angry protest stations. I am Milt, Logically Speaking Uncensored, saying, think about it.
To be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I
All right, thank you, Milt, for sending that down. If you want to hear Milt later on this morning, go to joshuastrail.com, joshuastrail.org, all one word, and you can find out what station he's going to be on later this morning. Again, that's from Joshua's Trail, the Abolitionist Roundtable. The spinoff to the Joshua's Trail Abolitionist Roundtable was Phil, myself, and the mayor, and we spent off our show, and then now this show is just called the Abolitionist Roundtable. So we're one and the same. Our mission is truth. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We've been discussing off air the fact that we think Milt Harris should be Trump's advisor.
His speechwriter.
Right.
He can be a speechwriter. Matter of fact, what he can do is he should just start mailing Trump all his commentary.
Exactly, the interesting thing is now that Trump has opened up this discussion about wanting to reach out to the black community, we want to be really careful that it isn't Al Sharpton that's going to be the guy that's going to talk to him about the black community.
He might send that invitation, huh? Sharpton will be there with a bowl. Said, I'm hungry anyway.
Yeah.
Because he done lost a lot of weight, man.
Yes, he did.
And I know you said one time he looked like he did a what?
A sandwich.
A
sandwich.
Not a sandwich, but a sandwich.
Yeah.
All right, we got to go back to our friend. Is Gary still on line one, Derek? Okay, go ahead and get Gary back on. All right, Gary. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Milt. I called you Milt. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gil.
That's an honor. Too.
Yeah, that's a real honor there. I just wanted to ask you, Gary, do you think that this strategy that these Democrats are using with this Saul Alinsky pick at the target, and all of that, all of that is political correctness. Now, do you think that some of our Republicans are playing on that team of political correctness?
Hey, Gary, you still there?
Uh-oh.
Okay, all right. So, Gary, Gary, if you thank you for calling, and you're welcome here anytime. All right, so we're going to go to here. Let me just mention this real quick. The second half of the show, we're going to change gears a little bit. You can still talk about whatever you want to talk about. Again, this is the art of propaganda. And here, I just want to read a headline. Obama won't interrupt the vacation at Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard. Wow.
Yeah, that's where all the black people live.
Oh, boy. Wow. Martha's Vineyard. From vacation to raise, from Martha Vineyards to comment on the Louisiana flood or the Milwaukee riots. Okay, so that's the second part of the show today. We're going to talk about the riots that just recently happened, where people were burning down their own neighborhoods. But it was somebody. Andy, we're going to talk a little bit about the shooter, the police officer. I'm sorry, not the shooter, but the police officer, this honorable police officer. In addition, the guy that was pointing a gun at him. So we're gonna get a little bit into that right there, and you can also still talk about anything that you want. And we're gonna go to line 2. We're gonna talk to Mike from Ann Arbor first. Hi, good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're talking about propaganda, and I think something that's even stronger than any propaganda that the Democrats have out there is the truth. And Donald Trump spoke the truth the other day when he turned to black America and said, you've followed the Democrats for 50, 60 years. What have they given you? And then he turned around to them and said the most perfect words. What have you got to lose with me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing I think that the Democrats fear more than anything else. This is a man who just flat out said, take a chance. What have you got to lose with me? You've been going down the wrong path for 50 or 60 years. You've gotten nothing. Your families have been destroyed. Your lives are destroyed. Your communities are destroyed. And you're going to vote again for them? And by the way, as far as Mr. Obama and Hillary Clinton are concerned, I think what they're afraid of going, the reason they haven't gone down to Louisiana, and I used to live near Louisiana a while back, I think they're afraid of snakes and gators.
Well, Mike, we were talking again off air about the fact that the left doesn't seem to be able to construct an argument to use against Trump's 3 most recent speeches, because you really haven't heard any media downplaying or disagreeing or challenging much about what Trump said.
Well, Well, there's nothing they can disagree with because they can't shoot any arrows at it. The only arrow that they're finding to shoot at now is Manafort and some concocted little story that he received $14 million from Yarenenko in Ukraine. And last night they had a little thing on CBS, and they had to put a little bit of a disclaimer on this report. They said his name appears to be on these ledgers receiving money, but there is no signature. And at the very end of the little news piece that hit piece that he did on Manafort and the Trump campaign was, well, you know, one of the reasons could be that this could be concocted because Trump supports Putin or is a friend of Putin, and Putin has gone after the Ukraine. So this could be a tit for tat, and there could be no validity to it at all. That's the only thing these people have.
Yeah, there you have it.
The only thing they have. And like I said before, when you take a look at what they're doing with Trump, all they can do is play the old pieces where Trump is making remarks. The simple fact of the matter is people are sick and tired of being politically correct. People want a little bit of honesty, and they want a little authenticity. And I think this is what Donald Trump gives them. But what I would say to our dear beloved president, God, put on some weight. Those spaghetti legs look horrible. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you,
for
my friend.
calling, Mike.
All right. Go ahead, Phil. I look like you had something you wanted to comment on.
Well, there is a connection supposedly to Hillary Clinton and her people with the, I forget this guy's name, but he used to be like a chief of staff or something of Bill Clinton's.
Podesta?
Podesta, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, there's a bigger connection with him and his brother than it is with Donald Trump and especially Putin, because Donald Trump said he'd never even met Putin.
Well, again, it's the media's witch hunt, and that's why they put that disclaimer at the bottom, because I don't know if you look at the TV ratings and CNN. They MSNBC has better ratings than and I mean that's total propaganda. They have better ratings than CNN. CNN numbers they really hurting for numbers, so they have to again brand themselves as a trustworthy news network.
But this is why it is so important that people identify these rhino Republicans that are sitting back sitting on their hands and acting as if that there's some legitimate beef about Donald Trump. Regardless of what your beef is, you got to make the decision as to whether or not you want to win this presidency, or if you want to sit back and take 8 more years of the nonsense that we've had in the last 8 years. Yeah,
and you know what? They didn't even. They should have been down there with Donald Trump. You know, here I want to just read a couple of headlines. This from the. This is from the Washington Times. It says Obama mum on Milwaukee riot, but breaks from vacation to raise money for Hillary Clinton. That's something you just mentioned a few minutes ago. But here, I don't know. I thought I put it on here. Something that the governor of Louisiana said. You know, I don't know if you noticed that President, I keep calling him President, but Donald Trump went down to Louisiana and visited some of the people and had a chance to interact with them. But the governor said for him and Mike Pence not to come down here and make a photo op out of this. What you mean a photo op? You know, these are people that's down there hurting.
Yep.
President Obama was outraged by President Bush 11 years ago. He spoke about it. Matter of fact, that gave him his popularity because he was so outspoken about this. And today, this governor go tell him not to make a photo op out of it.
And if nobody else does it, George Bush himself ought to come out and say something.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Because I mean, they raked him over the coals. They rode him like a rented mule. I'm telling you. You know, and he sits back and he's sitting back, and him and all of his family didn't even go to the convention. Now, here's something that impacted him. And if you and I recall, he is responsible for the rehabilitation of Bill Clinton.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, it's interesting to me to think of the benefits that could have come out of Obama going to Louisiana and acting like he really was one of the people.
Yeah.
That would be very comforting to a large segment of our society, black, white, everyone would be comforted by that. And I'm afraid that President Obama doesn't want to comfort the people of the United States because he's hell-bent on destroying our ability to even unify as a country.
Exactly
He
right.
does not want us to
'Cause he's
unify.
gotta keep
So
us
he sits
divided.
there with his silly smile and grin on that golf cart, that little bad boy, and he won't help to unify this country.
Well, 'cause
Donald Trump
he got
was,
another agenda.
he does, and Donald Trump was so perfect in that environment where he's on the line handing boxes to Governor Pence, and they're helping the people get out of this tragedy, and it was just so refreshing to see. And you can go ahead and call him President Trump if you want in
All right,
advance.
and so something happened. Again, we had these riots, and I don't know if you knew, but the guy that was the shooter and the police officer, they grew up together, and they had a little interaction. Matter of fact, it was some news that came out. The sister said because they checked with the CNN, checked with the school, and the school said that they don't have any records that they went to school together at this time. The sister said, "Well, hold on. They tell her the story. They knew each other. They did have a brief time that they went to school together." Down in Milwaukee, but I want you to listen to what the young lady. This is where I said the news media is propaganda. News media is journalism dead, because CNN is in real serious. They have some serious problems here. I want you to listen into what they edited a tape, but then they turned around and apologized, and they had to release the whole tape because people can go to YouTube and find out, because everybody has cell phones, and they can listen to the whole thing. But I want you to play 623 for me, Derek. 623, and again, this is when CNN admit to their propaganda about the Milwaukee riots. Again, can I just commend Governor Scott Walker? That was at one time that was Phil's guy right there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he called in the National Guard right away to assist them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and I want to commend our guy. I'm like I told Milt, I'm gonna work on getting the sheriff on the show too, Sheriff David Clark.
Very impressive, man.
Very impressive. But go ahead and play that for me, Derek. 623.
They're calling for peace.
Don't bring the violence here and the ignorance here.
Milwaukee police say they made multiple arrests overnight.
Everything. Tell his mama y'all sorry for her loss. Burning down ain't gonna help nothing. Don't burn it down. We need in our community. Take that to the suburbs. Burn that. We need our weed. I don't wear it, but we need it.
I want to take a moment to clarify something from Monday. We had a report that inadvertently and wrongly characterized the plea from a Milwaukee woman whose brother was killed by police. As our viewers saw, she demanded that the violence stop in her community, but in fact she also said that protests should instead take their violence to the suburbs. I regret that second part of her statement was not included.
She regrets.
She regretted. And so
yeah.
they was trying to set up a narrative that about what you wrote about Black Lives Matter, that these are peaceful people, that all they want is justice. These are young people that just want jobs and they want health care, and they want all these different things. Well, the truth is, once that tape was the truth was released, because again, the media is trying to create this narrative for them, you know, a positive narrative. But the truth, when the truth came out, she said, no, don't burn down our neighborhoods. Take that out to Phil's neighborhood. Take that to Janice's neighborhood. Take that to Reverend Yu's neighborhood. Take that to Derek's. Take it someplace else. Don't burn down your own neighborhood.
Yeah, but they will turn that statement and make it out to be that the police only protect those neighborhoods and do all of the violence in their neighborhoods. And they actually get people to believe this. This is why it's going to be such an uphill job for Donald Trump to break into that black block of voting. And that's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what the Democrats want. And they're culturing the other minority groups that come into this country to be just like on the plantation along with us.
Yeah, lifetime dependents. Yeah, they looking for lifetime vote independence. You know, when you can get 96% of the vote, and I mean, just unfounded loyalty right there, Phil. I mean, to be honest, unfounded loyalty. Like you said, with this 50-year history. Something else there, again, this is from the Hill, Sheriff David Clark. He blamed the liberal politics and media that fueled the riots in Milwaukee. He said it was the media that created this, the false narrative. Journalism is dead. Folks, you want to support this radio broadcast right here and this station, Wham Talk 1600, because formats like this right here is going to become the norm. CNN is a network that's the
Clinton News Network.
That's a good one right there. Yeah, that's the Clinton News Network right there, folks. And so the Clinton News Network will soon be a part of, will soon be with the dinosaurs, a part of the past.
Well, if Hillary gets elected, they probably will be the only network.
I like what the a guy named Robert Laurie from Canadian Free Press said about CNN. He says, you'll probably know CNN as that network you only watch when you're trapped in an airport, when there's no Wi-Fi, when your laptop's battery is dead. You don't want to spend money on outdated print media, and you need something to look at while you slurp up your third watered-down Bloody Mary. Those are the only times you watch CNN.
And that's a good point. You know, if you go someplace, that's the only news network they have playing is CNN. You're forced to watch it. And like I said, if you can't get any Wi-Fi, you can't get any alternative. So they're going to force feed you that propaganda. Let's go to Gary from Hazel Park. Is this Gary again?
Yeah, I'm back.
Hey, what's up, Gary? I mean, you know, I'm sorry we lost you back a few minutes ago. Go ahead and finish up what you wanted to say, Gary.
Well, we have to remember Trevor Loudon and what he explained to us, that it's no longer Republican versus Democrat. It's the citizens versus the politicians.
That's right.
The politicians have stolen our freedom from us, stolen our birthright, and we have to take it back via Donald Trump.
Yeah, and I appreciate you calling back and saying that, folks. This is an election about nationalism. It's not about party at all. Donald Trump, his motto, it represents nationalism. If you don't have a country, it don't matter about parties, Phil.
Right.
It doesn't matter at all, whether it's Democrat or Republican. That's what it's about right now, saving our nation.
And we've allowed people like George Soros with his open society philosophy to change this country and elect somebody like a Barack Obama, and it's in position to elect Hillary Clinton for another 8 years of this nonsense. We won't have a country, and that is because, like, we just
thanks,
can't
Gary. We got
protect
1 minute left. Here, I want to say we're still in the midst of our book bag drive. If you don't mind, we have a school that we've been supporting for the last 5 years. If you don't mind going to our website at artofmichigan.com, again, artofmichigan.com, we can use your most generous contribution so that we can continue to, the Roundtable can continue to say that we support these young people. Absolutely, we do. And then in there, we put a little something in there. We can start. Maybe next year we'll start putting a copy of the Constitution in there. I think that'll work right there. That's what we're gonna start doing from this point on. I'll start next year. We're gonna start putting that Constitution in there. All right, folks. Well, we're at the end of the show. I'm gonna let the mayor and Phil say their goodbyes, and we'll see you next week.
Well, here's a quote from Buddha: 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth.
Find the truth for yourself. Don't let these politicians tell you their version of the truth. The Abolitionist Roundtable invites the Wham Talk 1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan, 48135.
Or follow Phil, Del, and Janice at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.